Hello. We're doing our boss rush mode today, and you guys have voted. The people have spoken. And you guys chose number 3 as the second best number, which of course corresponds to Shadiversity. And as you all know, Shadiversity is a conservative reactionary who also does medieval weaponry stuff and also does media reviews. And I've been sitting on this one for a bit here because I thought it'd be funny. But he is really upset about the Ranma 1/2 remake. Obviously because it has the main premise of that anime, by the way, if you aren't aware, is that there's a martial artist and I'm not entirely sure how, but develops this kind of magical split where anytime he gets wet, his gender changes. So he's a boy, then a girl. Shenanigans ensue, and has to navigate the world. He falls into a magic pond. Gotcha. And so obviously, this is a show that inherently conservatives are kind of iffy on in the first place, and I thought it'd be funny to see a conservative reactionary like Shadiversity lose his mind about the very concept of Ranma 1/2. So let's take a look, shall we?
There is a modern remake underway of the classic anime Ranma, and I am concerned. Perhaps those concerns are unfounded.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. I'm going into this blind, by the way.
Of the classic anime Ranma, and I am concerned.
You're calling it Ranma half? You don't say it like it's one word. It's Ranma 1/2. Oh no.
Concerned. Perhaps those concerns are unfounded because this is being made in Japan, a culture that is largely disinterested in appeasing the woke modern audience, and with the 2 episodes released as of the writing of this script, so far it is a very close remake to the original, but there are some small but I do feel quite significant errors in the adaptation of this remake.
Also, the animation of the remake is so clean. I love it.
Reboot. Indeed, with this being a reboot, that creates certain opportunities for people.
I have a feeling this is going to be like the Silent Hill 2 reaction he put out. That made it very painfully obvious he had no idea what Silent Hill 2 was about or what roles the characters played in it. That was actually genuinely hilarious for me to talk about because he's so ignorant.
With agendas to try and change it. There's already a number of woke ideological activists trying to subvert what the meaning of Ranma is to suit their own ideological agenda, proclaiming it as a work that promotes fluid gender identity and transgenderism, which could—
It's literally a show about a character who can change gender. I just... Oh, how could you read this as a progressive narrative? It's just a show about a guy who could change gender at will. Like, I mean, and might be more comfortable being a girl. Who knows?
Could not be further from the truth. The original Ranma was made to be a fun, entertaining, comedic action romance and was not made for any subversive modern political statement. Indeed, the original promotes and enforces many traditional beliefs and standards about gender identity and gender roles. And it's the attempt to subvert and co-opt this story which is what has made me concerned, and is why I'm making this video to explain how doing so betrays many core aspects of what Ranma is. First, for all those who don't know, what is Ranma? Ranma is a comedic action anime—
It's also not called Ranma half.
A romance that was made in 1989, the manga starting in 1987, about a teenage martial arts practitioner who is cursed to turn into a girl when cold water is splashed on him. hot water turning him back into a male, who is betrothed to the daughter of his father's close friend and fellow martial arts practitioner. It's hilarious, action-packed, and in many ways wholesome if not for the regular nudity, so there is a hefty content warning regarding this show. But even with the infrequent nudity that doesn't appear in every episode, it is never presented sexually or in sexual situations. Indeed, it's often a result of Ranma not translating his male modesty standards to his female form.
She's so unashamed before the camera.
And the show never approaches anything as gratuitous as the likes of Game of Thrones. People might call Ranma half a harem anime because there are a decent amount of female characters that end up fighting for his affection. Indeed, you could almost call this the OG harem anime, but because of that, it doesn't really fall into the common, cheap, and even sleazy harem anime tropes that have developed since. Ranma is not an average guy or a loser who has girls falling over him for dumb or undeveloped reasons. He is a strong, noble character, cocky and arrogant, sure, but he attracts other women for obvious reasons, and the other women vying for his affection all serve to add conflict and hijinks to the main focus of the story, which is his relationship with Akane, the first girl he is betrothed to. Because yes, he ends up getting betrothed to other girls, but it's his relationship with Akane.
Yeah, look, so far the summary is pretty on point. Like, the issue is not that the summary is bad. The issue is the interpretation as like, oh no, this character can change gender at will. Shenanigans ensue. That's an inherently woke concept. You know, like the idea that gender is fluid and that in different social situations, gender roles have different functions, like that's an inherently like nuanced and if you understand it explicitly, like a pretty progressive way of looking at the world, like understanding that this is socially constructed is really interesting. That's kind of the entire premise of Ranma 1/2, which is like, oh yeah, the shenanigans that ensue are entirely based off of Ranma having to navigate being the same person but having to navigate different social situations based on his presentation or their presentation. So like it's I don't know, like I want to know how he's going to argue that this show is not inherently woke. Did he watch this anime? Ranma's a cocky dipshit. Yeah, no, that's kind of the thing, right? Like Ranma tries to do the right thing, but also he's kind of a dick, you know? And like a horny kid. It's weird. It's a weird show that just kind of explores teenagerness, but like while also exploring how society treats people differently on the basis of gender.
That's the core. And that relationship's progression is handled with care and focus in the story. Of course, there's a lot of comedy, hijinks, side plots, and action along the way, but Ranma and Akane's relationship is the heart of the story, and is actually a very well-written character study in how offense, immaturity, misunderstandings, ego, and jealousy can get in the way of real affection and wholesome relationships.
Don't you ever get tired of being angry all the time?
I like being angry.
Well, that's too bad.
Why's that?
'Cause you're really cute when you smile.
Huh?
Gotcha.
Did he mean that?
What are you making that goofy face for?
Huh?
I think I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah, this isn't cute. Like, I like how he's like, I like how Shadiversity is like, see, look at this. Look at how noble he is. You disgust me with your smile, wench. Like, are you kidding me? Bro's got negative game.
What are you doing in my room?
And more importantly, that these things can be overcome, even crazy things like curses.
Also, I know that some people out there are autistic, so I need to explain this because I was very confused by it. When I was in high school, weeby kids would actually the girl weebs would straight up just hit like their partners in like an anime way, but it always made me feel deeply uncomfortable. Like I don't know, anime kind of normalizes violence from like the female end of things as like a cute thing, and it never really clicked for me until later in life that it was directly inspired by different anime. So in case you need to hear this, don't do that. It's not cute or endearing to hate your partner.
And unhinged people fighting to ruin the relationship when true affection exists, and the
In fairness, he was invading her bedroom. Yeah, that's true. That just unlocked a core memory.
two are so well suited to one another. Ranma and Akane's relationship begins with them being betrothed against their wishes and both accidentally and comedically but deeply offending each other. It progresses from there with further offences and conflict, each hurting the other, sometimes in unintentionally cruel and deep ways.
I don't want you hanging around me all the time when we're at school. Do you understand?
Don't worry about that. I can't stand tomboys like you. If you want a girl who's more likely to kill you than kiss you, then you can have her.
What's the big deal, Akane? I think it's cool he can change into a girl.
Cool? That's
Hell yeah. Woke. 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 How are you watching this and putting these clips into your video and not understanding that this show is woke? How?
easy for you.
What's the big deal, Akane? I think it's cool he can change into a girl.
Cool? That's easy for you to say, Nabiki. My life may as well be over if I have to marry a stupid jerk like him. Why don't you marry him if he's so cool? Think about it. I'm engaged to my worst nightmare.
And the old man calls me rude.
But, carefully placed amidst all this conflict are key moments that are very intentionally and skillfully written that show a deeper affection for one another where each of them sees the good in the other.
Really, she's very sweet-tempered and kind.
I don't know.
Soon you'll understand.
Not yet, I don't.
And that growing love is constantly at odds with their offense, resent, jealousy, and immature natures. It doesn't take long for Ranma to realize how
It's true, we do stand our gender fluid dipshit.
special Akane is.
She's something else.
Even if he tries to tell himself otherwise, but in reality, she's a perfect match for him. So, Ranma begins to tease Akane, calling her tomboy and uncute because he likes her and wants her attention. A very common and immature thing boys and young men do to girls they actually like, not
Also, this is another thing that's very normalized in media. Will they, won't they shit, like being mean to the people you like, having like that Sam and Diane dynamic, it's not cute. So many rom-coms do this. So many people in the world treat their significant other this way. Don't be mean to the people you like. Why you wouldn't do that to a stranger? You wouldn't treat a stranger that way. Don't treat the love of your life like she's garbage. You know? Yeah, negging isn't cute. You know, like the red pill content, dating content out there, it's like, you know, subtly put down your partner, you know, so that they need you and cling to you. It's like, no, that's not cute. You don't want that. Are you kidding me? You want to be with someone where both of you are making each other feel good. Don't be bad-mouthing, you know, the people you care about. Like, I don't know. Like, I see it so often in the real world. Like, I don't know, being with my partner right now, I can't understand like people who want to joke about like, oh man, the old I'd love to, but the old ball and chains got me like tied down. It's like, what are you doing? Why why would you talk about the love of your life like that? You know? Why would you talk about them like they're a burden to you? I don't get it. People who liked me used to tease me in elementary school. Yeah, it's not I don't get it. But I know a lot of people out there do behave that way. So if you do behave that way and this is clicking for you, change your behavior. You'll find that a lot more people will like you. A lot more people will want to be around you. And if you're having trouble like holding down a relationship or even getting into a relationship in the first place, the best way to do it is just to treat people like they have value, treat people like they are worthy of respect, and like treat them well. I don't know. Like, I know that this sounds really basic, but I've never been a fan of this particular dynamic, and I understand Ranma 1/2 does have it, but like, I wish more things would actually grapple with that a bit more.
Realizing this type of behavior usually makes the girls dislike them more. The thing is, Akane is insecure about her femininity and wants to be more womanly and attractive to men, not to boys. She is literally growing out her hair in the beginning of the show to be more like Kasumi, her older sister, so she can appear more womanly and win the affections of Dr. Tofu, her schoolgirl crush, but who is in love with Kasumi. This evolves and grows, Akane moving on from Dr. Tofu and secretly wanting Ranma to like her, which makes Ranma's teasing of her cut all the deeper. Do you see already how authentic, real, and conflicted Ranma and Akane's relationship is? A lot of which is not spelled out, but subtly shown and hinted at. It's actually very mature and clever character writing spliced in between very immature hijinks and comedy, and the show manages to strike a balance. It's an art seemingly lost in most modern day shows. Unfortunately, it seems like part of this may be lost in the remake. For instance, in the remake, Akane states that she hates men, where in the original she says that she hates boys.
You're never gonna find a man that will like you if you keep acting like this.
Ask me if I care. How many times do I have to keep telling you that it doesn't matter because I hate men?
It's just that you said yesterday that you hated every man.
I do. Oh boy, I really hate...
You must be joking. Why would I be?
Because you hate boys, don't you?
That's right. I hate boys. Hate boys, hate boys, hate boys. I really, really hate boys.
I'm unaware if the original Japanese script has this difference, but in the subtitles and dub of the original versus the remake, Akane hates boys in the original, whereas in the remake, they say she hates men.
She's going to high school. Yeah. That she's saying that she hates boys and men. Like, oh no, the horror. They changed it from boys to men? That seems like a more consistent character trait, actually, for her to, you know, learn and grow from. Like, that's kind of the point. It's not a subtle journey here. We're not talking about a deep and nuanced, like, performance. She was traumatized by Motown Philly. Yeah.
Reason why she hates boys is implied because boys are immature and constantly get in her way, vying for affection which she is not interested in. But regarding men, like Dr. Tofu, she likes very much. Akane is not a man-hating character, and this small change in the remake contradicts a very significant aspect of her character, which does make me concerned for the authenticity of this remake. Because why was this change done? Now look, it might have just been a mistake, a mistranslation, an oversight, but with the modern trend of hating men and the rise of toxic feminism, I am concerned that this might have been a very subtle but calculated change to push the show towards a
You're literally showing a clip of her, like, crushing on Dr. Tofu. What do you mean, dog? Sorry, I jumped ahead.
But regarding men, like Dr. Tofu, she likes very much. Akane is not a man-hating character, and this small
So maybe it kind of indicates that if she's saying, I hate men, but is then giggling and blushing when she sees Dr. Tofu, maybe that is indicating that she is not saying that she hates all men in a deeply serious way, like a statement that all men are inherently worthless and deserve to die kind of way. It's not it is a general antipathy towards a lot of men, but not all men. Like, kind of the same way in the real world when young women who get harassed all the time say, God, I hate men. You know, like, maybe, but then they'll go out and date men? Like, that happens all the time? How are you having this much difficulty understanding, like, just a sentence, a word from a young woman?
change in the remake contradicts a very significant aspect of her character, which does make me concerned for the author.
It's not a contradiction. It's actually more informative when you show it. When you show it happening in the show.
Authenticity of this remake, because why was this change done? Now look, it might have just been a mistake, a mistranslation, an oversight, but with the modern trend of hating men and the rise of toxic feminism, I am concerned that this might have been a very subtle but calculated change to push the show.
You're literally showing this clip and complaining that, oh man, she says I hate men. You literally described how she gets harassed by men all the time and gets a ton of unwanted attention from men and boys. And then she says, I hate men. Like, she hates the unwanted attention from men. She likes this guy. You just have no media literacy, dog.
Show towards a more woke depiction. I could be wrong, but these are concerns that I can't avoid because of what is
Wait, so everyone knows Ranma can do that and they just roll with it? Yeah, basically.
Happening in current day society.
It's literally Ranma is gender fluid, everyone rolls with it, but shenanigans still ensue, you know, like, and it's just like, it's a very progressive story. Very woke.
And the push for certain ideologies. I'll be keeping an eye on the remake to see if anything like this continues. Still, this little change in the remake doesn't really subvert yet what the heart of Ranma Half is about, which is the development of Ranma and Akane's relationship. In the original, it becomes a real wholesome treat seeing those moments of growing affection poke through Ranma and Akane's constant fighting and seething resent, because we, the audience, can see that they actually really do care for one another.
Yeah, but you know, maybe it'd be better to show like a relationship between two people who actually fundamentally like each other and are trying their best to treat each other the way, like in a positive way, but keep fucking it up. You know, like, that's a more interesting story than an episode where someone's just an asshole for no reason. But it's okay because they like each other.
Wow, she's great.
I wanted to tell you, your hair really does look cute.
Huh?
And that they both need to grow enough to overcome their immature nature and resent and learn to let the other know how much they actually care. Woven throughout the comical hijinks of this action.
So it's not overcome their resent. No, they're overcoming their resentment. But also, maybe you shouldn't pursue a relationship with someone who's insulting you all the time.
Anime is actually a very cleverly written romance story and character study. This is the heart of Ranma Half, and it's far more than a cheap harem anime or some pathetic subversion of gender identity and gender roles. Indeed, far from it. Ranma Half actually promotes traditional values and traditional gender identity and uses Ranma's curse of turning into a girl to reinforce those traditional standards and beliefs by the contrasts that arise because of this transformation and character interactions.
This is all your fault, old man. What's the idea of dragging me to a place like that anyway, huh?
Ranma, you sound like a girl!
Indeed, on top of reinforcing traditional gender roles, it actually promotes traditional gender roles and gender identity, presenting these roles and identity.
Yeah, you know, it presents traditional gender roles and gender identity. Through the lens of someone who swaps between them at will, yeah.
It all throughout the show as what is normal and good.
Dutiful wife make husband delicious lunch.
The overall...
What the fuck was that? Was that dub? Ranma 1/2 old time dub. What was that? What the hell was that? All right.
Categorical context of Ranma's ability to change genders is
Yeah.
presented as a perversion of what is normal.
I am so ashamed. I cannot bear to see my son like this.
Ranma, you're...
Go ahead and make fun of me, Ryoga. I'm just trying to get by. It's not easy having this curse for a body, you know.
You think I like it, old man? You think it's fun being a girl? You don't know what it's like. I just want to be...
Yeah, I don't think Ranma's talking about it in the way that, you know, they're upset about having the ability to transform. They're upset about how people are treating them. But remember, you also played earlier a clip from earlier with the girl who's like, "Yo, your boy toy can change genders at will. That's pretty cool. That makes him so neat." Like, what are you doing? You've already contradicted this point, Shad.
Normal again.
Ranma literally sees himself as a freak of nature for it and wants the curse to be gone, and the show presents this belief, as well as Ranma's
Yeah, how could trans people identify with this? How could... Oh man, this is clearly a very conservative show about an individual struggling with gender identity. Totally conservative, though.
unshakable male identity, even in the face of being able to turn into a biological female, as what is proper. Ranma always identifies as a man, even though cursed to turn into a girl.
Die, Ranma! Hey, cut it out, stupid! Girls, let's not fight! I told you I'm a guy!
And that right there is the key. Ranma, even with his ability to turn into a girl, never identifies as one. He sometimes pretends to be a girl to fool people or exploit that form for his own benefit, such as being in girl form to get special treatment like...
Okay, spoiler alert for Ranma 1/2. I'm gonna just look this up here. All right. Do I have, trying to find here. Yeah, the manga ends with Ranma like still being a lady. So like I don't know. I don't know about this one, Shadiversity. I had to double check myself. But yeah. Has Shad just never finished the series? Probably not. Seems like he kind of reacts to a lot of things without knowing much about them.
Getting additional scoops of ice cream.
Yep, when it comes to eating out, being a girl's the only way to go.
But at
Yep, when it comes to eating out, being a girl certainly is the only way to go. Dude! Dude! Yeah, not woke at all. Mm-mm. Oh my god. What a time to raid in, Echoplex, folks. Welcome. Welcome. Hello, ems.com. Hello, Avalon of Babylon. Hello, Twitchy Kev. Hello. Also, before we continue, folks, we've been going for almost 2 hours now. If you've been enjoying the show, hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the goddamn YouTube stream. And please consider dropping those subs and donos, because this show, at the end of the day, is brought to you by viewers like you. And, you know, this counter appeared on screen, and I'm not exactly sure what it does. Apparently something really good is going to happen at 100. Or maybe really bad? I think really good, though. I don't know what'll happen, but yeah, when we hit 10 subs, something special happens, so maybe that'll happen again. Does it go up? It goes every time someone. It goes up every time someone drops a sub or a dono of $5 or more. Are you putting this on YouTube after stream? I mean, not immediately after stream. At some point, it will go up on YouTube. T-, thank you for dropping a gifted sub. I appreciate it. Out of curiosity, was the price of No More Santos karaoke? I guess I would assume getting to 100 subs. We're gonna listen to that one more time, though.
Scream.
Yep, when it comes to eating out, being a girl's the only way to go.
God bless you, voice actress, for delivering that line with just utter and complete sincerity.
But at no point does he ever think he is actually a girl. His belief that a man cannot become a girl is so ingrained that even when a curse literally turns him into a biological female, he is and always and forever will be a male.
I mean, I feel like, you know, Jazz Dog, thank you for the $5 dono. You all can see how ridiculous Shad's position is here, right? Like you're saying he can, Ranma can have a vagina and boobs, but he's still a man. Shad, do you not understand how this is exactly analogous to a trans man? Come on. You don't support trans rights, but then you are making this exact argument, buddy. My guy, what are you doing? Silly little guy.
This is a duel, you coward! Don't you start talking like a girl!
Who you calling a girl?
Also, there are definitely points in the series and the anime where Ranma identifies more as a woman, despite being in this is why it is beloved by trans and LGBTQ folks, because like there are some complicated gender feelings going on here.
I'm a god!
Oh, he only watched Ranma half. He needs to watch Ranma 1/2. That's true. Ranma half is the sequel.
I'm a guy, okay? There's no way I'm gonna let you dress me up like a girl, so forget it!
But all your clothes are in the wash. It's only for a little while, Ranma.
No way! Leave me alone! Stop running! Hold it a minute!
Almost like Ranma's gender fluid, yeah.
Up, Satome! Wait! I told you I'm a guy!
Ranma believes, and the context of the show promotes traditional
No. Oh god.
ideas of gender identity.
No, don't put me in girl clothes. That would be the worst. Teehee, teehee. Oh man, wouldn't it be so funny if I put on that lady's Halloween costume? Oh god.
An expression and uses
I thought I
Ranma's curse
avoided
to
it. There we go. No, don't. No. Everyone will laugh if I'm too cute in the Halloween costume. Please, it's too close to my story. This is Like, it's so funny because he keeps pointing out scenes that are like, see, he's definitely a man. And it's like, bro, every trans woman is looking at this right now being like, that is exactly what I was doing as a teenager.
Enforce this, not subvert it, as some modern woke activists might proclaim. For instance, Ranma believes a man should never hit a woman.
Well, a lot of times when a guy fights with a girl, he lets her win.
Don't underestimate me. Why not try me for real sometime?
Violent or not, you're still a girl. I don't fight girls.
A man should never wear girls' clothing.
I'm a guy, okay? There's no way I'm gonna let you...
Yeah, Pro tip, Ranma absolutely wears women's clothing throughout the course of Ranma 1/2. Absolutely does that, like, constantly.
You dress me up like a girl, so forget it!
If I change back into a boy in this getup, the reputation of the Sao Tome School of Anything Goes Martial Arts is practically done for.
A man should not be carried by a woman.
Well, come on.
Come on what?
Piggyback. You can't
Wait, but he does get carried piggyback.
walk, right?
Hey, no way! You can't expect a guy to do something embarrassing like that.
That it's creepy when men are attracted to him.
I love you.
Wait, but that's how lesbians feel. That's how lesbians feel about being hit on by men. You're just describing a lesbian.
That Kuno's sick.
And many other traditional masculine beliefs that subversive feminist or woke beliefs would see them as chauvinistic or misogynistic.
Oh, right. You know, I've always wanted to eat one of these. Don't tell me you've never had ice cream.
Guys would never eat this kind. It'd be embarrassing.
Shad, I'm imploring you. Can you not see that, like, the gender roles that you're holding up here of, like, not eating tasty ice cream are stupid, artificial, and silly? Come on, dude.
Ranma is a traditionally masculine man who sees himself as a man that is cursed, not one that is happy to flip his gender identity on a dime. When in girl form, he absolutely still identifies as a man. This is the cause of some hilarious hijinks in the show, because the show is aware that men and women are different and stereotypical male behavior is not usually equivalent or appropriate for female.
The complete lack of self-awareness from Shadiversity here is actually insane. The complete and utter lack of media literacy. How can you be saying these words and not understanding how full of shit you are?
One extreme example of this in the show is how Ranma treats his modesty. He is completely used to training topless as a man and does not even register at times that he is turned into a...
Okay, but like, you understand that's because he's a dipshit, right? That's not because of his very strong gender identity, necessarily. That's mostly because he's a dipshit. Because I'm pretty sure most of us, if we suddenly had gigantic bazongas, would be like, oh yeah, people do expect us to wear shirts. We've internalized enough, like, lessons from society to know that. So this is just him being a moron as part of his character. His obliviousness in social situations is part of what makes it a funny show / manga.
A girl and has an exposed chest.
Come on and fight, Ryoga!
Who the heck are you?
Shut up and fight me!
Ranma? Is it you?
Just who did you think it was, you stupid jerk?
Ranma! Your blouse!
Oh!
Didn't you even notice? That you became a girl, I mean?
As a man, he is accustomed to the modesty standard.
Yeah. All you eggs watching.
Of men and has trouble translating that in his girl form.
Good morning, Mr. Tendo.
Oh, God.
You are unbelievable! Have you no sense of feminine modesty?
Is Ranma immune to, like, being burned? Because that's just a straight-up kettle of hot water.
You don't know nothing. What does a tomboy like you know about feminine modesty?
You really are shameless.
Indeed, Ranma seems to resent conforming to feminine modesty even in his girl form because that would mean acting like a girl, which he loathes to do. Because
Yeah, like trans men do.
even in his girl form, Ranma sees himself as a man and acts like a man. There are very few times Ranma knowingly acts like a girl in his girl form.
The completely oblivious nature of these arguments it's insane. That's insane. Wait, is the VA just one person? I think the VA for Ranma is one person.
And when he does this, it's usually to trick someone or, as I mentioned, exploit that form for his own benefit, but never to subvert his rock-solid identity as a man or betray his traditional masculine beliefs. But he is willing to use his girl form to get around those traditional masculine standards, not to contradict or subvert them.
Boy, do you look stupid.
Hang on, Akane.
What a mean child. That child was like 5 and absolutely burned him.
Be right back. Here we go.
Figure skating is just too embarrassing as a guy.
For instance, when needing to fight a girl, he will adopt his girl form.
Yeah, but the show's saying that's fucking stupid. His position on issues is not to be trusted here because he's consistently shown to be a dipshit. Come on.
Form. This is not to subvert gender roles or traditional masculine standards. Ranma in his girl form is not
It absolutely does, though.
A biological male pretending to be a female. He literally becomes a biological female and is physically weaker as a result.
If you turn him into a girl first, he'll be less powerful.
And therefore he sees it as fair to fight other girls in that form, reinforcing the traditional standard that biological men are physically stronger than women and should not compete with them. When it comes...
Wait, but you just said he becomes a biological woman. What are you talking about? How can you assemble sentences in this order? Like, even by your transphobic weirdo logic. That doesn't make sense. If he's a biological woman, then it's not reinforcing the standard that men are biologically stronger. Dude. I'm losing brain cells. Look, please, for the love of God, if you're in an area where your schools aren't teaching media literacy, please teach your kids media literacy. Please, I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Because we can't have more people not being able to understand the basic, like, what's directly on the page. This is some, like, reading Jack and Jill and not understanding that they went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Like, this is like some straight up, like, you just didn't open the book.
To deeper matters of gender identity, the original show both reinforces gender being a biological reality and an unchangeable...
It's a show that has a martial arts doing, like a panda doing martial arts. What are you talking about? It's so biologically correct.
Characteristic of one's consciousness or soul, both of which are objective and immutable based on how the show portrays them.
So you accept trans people, right? Like, you're making an argument for trans people, Shadiversity. You're literally being here like, oh, you have a male or a female soul, and it's unchangeable and immutable, but not trans people though. They're just confused. That's nonsense logic.
Gender is a biological reality in the show because Ranma's biological sex literally changes when he
it talks about biological sex because he grows titties. Like, I grew titties. Does that make, you know, I know that Shadiversity would not consider trans women like myself to be biological women, but I'm sitting here pointing out that I grew my own titties. And like, I don't know, why is Ranma that different? It's kind of interesting. Maybe some introspection would be warranted on that one, eh, Shad?
transforms, which affects his strength and hormones. He can be more...
It affects his strength and hormones. Oh, you doing the hormone tests on these anime characters, Shad? You got the anime blood work back?
more emotional in his girl form, crying far more often. Contrary from...
Crying far more often. We've already established that, like, Ranma is the same regardless, right? And I can tell you firsthand, like, you're still you. So the things that make Ranma sad when he's in, like, girl form are things that also make him sad when he's in guy form. He just feels more comfortable expressing his emotions in girl form because it's more socially acceptable. Kind of like the scene you showed like 2 minutes ago of Ranma feeling more comfortable and being more willing to do ice skating as a woman. It's almost like you've shown examples that directly contradict you already.
Portraying biological sex as fluid and changeable in that a person with XY chromosomes can become one with XX chromosomes based on their belief, hormones, therapy, or surgeries. It literally takes a magical curse for that.
Wait, are you sure that he's changing his chromosomes? Again, I have to reiterate, do you have the anime blood work back? Because otherwise you're just seeing, you're like, what? You're seeing the titties and assuming the entire DNA changed? I just... The anime chromosomes, man.
That to change to actually be possible, and when it does, Ranma cannot simply be a biological man when in his girl form because his biology has changed due to the curse and he can't switch it back any other way.
Wait, can biology change and it not change your DNA? Just a little question, because I think bodies can change without changes on the chromosomal level.
Outside of the way the curse functions, and when in his male or female forms, he cannot believe his biology is different to what it is in that form, having it literally affect his strength and emotions even against his will.
If you turn him into a girl first, he'll be less powerful.
Incredibly, and a fact that truly contradicts modern woke gender ideology, the show, even in the extreme that Ranma's biology literally changes, still presents the gender of his consciousness as unchanged and male, as that characteristic in the show, as in reality, cannot change.
As in reality! Bro, you're just describing the position trans people are in. You're just describing, like, Ranma in the context of being a trans man. I just, how can you do this and not understand that you are taking a you're making a pro-trans argument here? Yeah, he's almost correct. But he's so dumb. Like, he's almost correct on it by accident, and then he's trying to veer into transphobia after making a pro-trans argument.
Gender is that much of a concrete biological reality and an unchangeable characteristic of an individual's inner identity within the context of the show, as in real.
If gender identity is inexorably linked to biology, the show undermines that point. What a silly little goose. Just out of curiosity, 53,000 views on this.
Some might claim Ranma maintaining his identity as a male when in his girl form is a validation of transgender identity, while missing the fact that it took a magical perversion of reality to actually make that possible, meaning
missing the fact that this is, in fact, a show about fiction. Also, ignore the fact that one can accomplish all of the changes that happen to Ranma with modern medical science. You know, just ignore the fact that modern medical science does, in fact, allow one to grow tits and to have a vagina, even if one was born with not tits and the opposite of a vagina.
to put a male consciousness into the wrong gendered body, and that this never happens normally or in natural ways. And the way the show
this never happens normally or in natural ways? Dude, he got thrown into a magic pond. Modern medical science makes this possible. Like, I don't know, it's also not normal or natural for you to, like, go to the hospital and have them, I don't know, perform a knee replacement surgery. That's not natural. Or to perform a triple bypass surgery. That's not natural either. They gotta put stents in there.
Determines Ranma's true gender identity is by the biological gender he was born with, not the gender a person might think they are due to a mental illness. What the show is actually doing and
Dude! Like, the absolute, like, elbows being thrown here. By the standard you are putting forward here, Ranma identifying as a man despite having female biology is mental illness. You understand that's the point you just made in order to try and throw trans people under the bus. But everything you've said up to this point is supportive of, like, Ranma as, like, a trans man. Oh, God.
and portraying constantly throughout the entire series is reinforcing Ranma's unchangeable male identity, and that one's true gender identity, the one they were born with, can never change no matter what happens to them in life.
But you're saying that the one that they're born with, i.e. the one that is related in your mind to their biology, but this is a show about a guy whose biology can change. So, by your logic, it should be that Ranma is a girl and identifies as a girl while girl Ranma. But that's not what's happened in the show, and you're arguing against that.
Even in spite of a magical curse. Ranma's dislike of his curse is compounded by the fact that his girl form is very cute and attractive, and that other men unwittingly fall in love with his girl form, not knowing he is actually a man. And this creeps Ranma out. He is not gay in any way, shape, or form, and literally has nightmares of the guys trying to hit on him. The original show does not promote LGBT ideology, but actually plays off such themes as not being normal and with comedic revulsion. Ranma also...
You know, lesbians also don't like it when men hit on them. I'm just throwing that idea out there, okay? It is entirely possible to read Ranma 1/2 as being about a trans lesbian or about a straight guy, a straight trans guy. That's completely possible. You could do that.
Also has no kink or perversion regarding his ability to change into a girl because contrary to
He's gay,
accusations in the
just not
show
for
by
men.
other
Yeah,
characters,
exactly.
Ranma is not a pervert and does not get off on his girl form. He's become used to it and his own nudity doesn't bother him or turn him on. And this is important because the show is not about kink or sex no matter how much perverts would want to warp it into that. It's about characters, relationships, wacky martial arts, and hilarious hijinks and comedic encounters. All the things discussed in this video, how the original Ranma half show handles gender, Ranma's masculinity, and how he approaches his curse, are essential for making this concept work as well as it does. The danger
They're not, actually.
with the current reboot is that all these things are primary targets to subvert and twist for a modern audience. The woke mob loves bastardizing things to have those stories affirm their identities, even if those stories had nothing to do with them in the first place.
This story is explicitly about a guy who swaps between genders and wacky hijinks ensue. Like, what are you doing, man?
Everything has to have LGBT representation, and their insistence that it does.
It's literally a show that's main premise is playing with, like, LGBTQ concepts. You literally made the argument throughout this video that he's a trans man. I don't know how to deal with this. This is bizarre. How do you become a fully grown adult man and not understand media intended for children? This is like watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and thinking it's a movie about, several, like a small group of regular everyday New Yorkers. It's bizarre.
Shows how authoritarian and dogmatic they are, and heaven forbid that they leave something alone that affirms traditional values and straight sexual identity, which the original Ranma half does, which is what makes it such an easy and primary target for them because of the underlying premise. All the reboot needs to do is have him more freely...
Dude, how can you say it reinforces straight relationships when the relationship is between a literal gender fluid individual and a lady with multiple people of different genders being involved at different points in the show? Come on.
Identify as a girl in his girl form to appease the woke mob, chomping at the bit to cancel anyone who does not appease them with their representation and diversity, even when that would utterly ruin a core aspect of Ranma half's premise and evolving story. But the woke mob would rather bastardize and utterly ruin a show to remake it in their image than be true to what that story is, as we've seen with countless examples. And here is the ultimate point. If you want fundamental aspects of Ranma half to change to reflect your ideology, you do not love this show and you think it is problematic and bad, which
I don't think you understand what the show's about.
Which means you are unworthy to touch anything related to it and you do not deserve to be a fan of it. Get lost.
You don't deserve to be a fan of insert property. Bro. This is literally like old man yelling at cloud level, like, you don't deserve to enjoy Star Wars. What do you do? What? What's wrong with you?
As to the current reboot, we will have to see if it remains true to what the heart of Ranma half is, and if it chickens out by cutting statements and scenes that contradict and even slaps the face of modern woke gender theory agenda. I would be even more disappointed if it doesn't devote as much time and careful attention to the progress and depiction of Ranma and Akane's relationship, and unfortunately there are already signs that the reboot is missing the mark, specifically when Ranma attempts to try to thank Akane for looking out for him at school in keeping his curse a secret.
Also, just as an FYI, this is an actual scene that takes place in Ranma 1/2. Just as an FYI. Have you really forgotten about being a boy? I don't quite know how to describe it. as if my experiences until now aren't mine. It seems so unreal, as if I have another person's memories. And this morning, the real me suddenly awakened. I finally realized that I was a woman. I don't know, seems kind of transcoded there, Shad. Seems like the show might be a little bit woke. It seems to be like you are the one who are, in fact, not deserving of enjoying Ranma 1/2.
The original has a careful build-up to this moment. First, his father scolds him for not thanking Akane. Ranma rejects his father's advice, but upon later reflection, he sees that
this is painfully transgender. It's painfully transgender in so many different ways. Like in, are you non-binary? Are you a trans man? Are you a trans woman? You gender fluid? Like, we got all your bases covered. We got the entire transgender spectrum covered.
Akane really did look out for him. The original takes time to show Ranma thinking back to Akane helping him, and the music and flashbacks that are chosen convey that he is looking back with gratitude and admiration, that he is realizing Akane is someone special, prompting him to want to try and build their relationship, going to thank her for her help, which is all undermined as he comes to her door and overhears her say some of the most scolding comments about him, literally saying she's engaged with her worst nightmare.
My life may as well be over if I have to marry a stupid jerk like him. Why don't you marry him if he's so cool? Think about it! I'm engaged to my worst nightmare!
This type of emotional rejection would obviously cut deep, especially when Ranma was coming to try and mend the bridges, and it sets their relationship back once more. It's a brilliant sequence, and it knows it needs to take its time because what's happening is very important. This is the foundation of the show, and it is played out carefully and skillfully with strong emotional weight, and portrays a dynamic and complex relationship that's going to be the fundamental aspect of the entire series. The Reboot's version of this sequence is a shadow by comparison. No time is given to show Ranma thinking this over, nor revealing in that reflection that he's already started to become attracted to Akane. Ranma's dad simply says Akane looked out for him, and it cuts the overly dramatic speech from Genma in the original, which loses great characterization and humor. There is no reflection by Ranma. He simply walks up to Akane's door and overhears her saying that he's a pervert who can't check the bathroom before walking in, a comment that is not nearly as scathing or emotionally impactful. The original has Ranma pausing at the door in disappointment, but in the Reboot he looks to simply just brush it off and walk away. This is the care, attention and time the Reboot is devoting to the most important aspect of this entire show. It's actually shocking how much this misses the mark. And it is not a good sign for the future of this reboot. So they're clearly willing to change some things, sometimes.
Man, how dare they not make the exact same show? How dare they? How dare a remake do different things and thus be its own product instead of just a retrace of the old one?
Small things, but they actually can mean quite a lot. But if any of these changes come at the cost of the core of what Ranma 1/2 is and the development of Ranma's and Akane's relationship, then this remake is worthless, especially if they censor certain things for fear of offending the modern audience. Yet in other parts of the reboot, they end up being quite faithful, and even then, if they manage to get everything else correct, where it ends up basically being a scene-for-scene remake of the original, I don't really see a point of it apart from it being depicted in a crisper higher definition. But if that's the intent, then they should have just remastered the original, which does have great animation, and the style of the original animation was more true to the manga style, and honestly, just looks better. And on top of the style, the overall animation quality in the original is pretty darn good, and all of the original is available to watch right now through multiple means. On top of this, the music and sound effects are orders of magnitude better in the original, and they really help deliver many comedic payoffs and punchlines way better.
Is he cute? Younger men are so young.
Well, what kind of guy is he?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I've never met him.
Oh, please, I don't believe this.
Oh, come on, tell us what Ranma is like.
Don't know.
You don't?
Nope.
Nothing at all?
I've never even met the young'un.
Sao Tome, my friend! We've been waiting!
I hope that he's older than me.
Come on! I bet that's Ranma!
I just hope he's older than us.
Hmm?
Happy to see you!
There is one thing I will credit the remake, although some might consider this a point against it, which is that the remake censors more of the nudity than the original, which I do prefer. Still, all those things are ancillary to the main concerns I have with this remake, and I'll have to wait and see as more of the remake is released to find out if they remain true to the core of what Ranma Half is, if anything in it is subverted for a modern woke audience, and if it is even worthwhile in the end. As an old school fan of the original Ranma Half animation, I'll be keeping an eye on it and I'll let you know. So do subscribe to Night's Watch so you don't miss out, and also be sure to check out...
Oh man, that was difficult to watch. It was like watching a train crash into another train, or watching a man beat another man with medieval weaponry. You know, it was really difficult to watch, but I couldn't look away. Yeah, classic Ranma Half. Ranma Half. It's like watching two incredibly drunk people try to fight each other. It really was, except those two people were just one person. It was like watching one guy slap fight himself. That was rough. Anyway, I am excited to watch Ranma 1/2. I actually forgot that it came out and is, I believe, all out now. So I'm gonna go watch this at some point in the next few days. I'm very excited for it. So thank you for making me think of that, Shad. And no thank you for the terrible logic of your line of argumentation. It was terrible. Truly abysmal, would not pass the class.